Good morning. I am actually, I haven't done one of these in a little bit and I forgot to I can't even talk this morning, play our little intro video. So, JB, if you don't mind, I'm going to play it. That way we give some people some time to log in.
Awesome.
There we go. Now we can start off on the right beat. Always puts me kind of in the right mind space, right? So, welcome to our Winners Wednesday. If you're new to this show, this is where we interview top producers live every single week, where they share their best practices. And if you have been watching, then I'm sure you've seen Miss JB Hawkins before, all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Good morning.
Good morning, Micah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So I'm really excited about today's topic. I mean, today's December 13th. So we've just got a couple weeks left, hardly a couple weeks if you count the holidays left of this year. So really my mind is already thinking of 2024 as we should be. And honestly, many of us have started thinking about 2024 a few months ago. But in today's topic, if you haven't started planning for 2024 yet, I want to kind of go through the top 10 goal setting tips to really make sure that we kick off and start the new year the right way. So we know there's been a lot of adjustments this year. And so, how can we really ensure that we're starting fresh? This is really a clean slate to make sure that we have a great 2024. Good morning, Sarah. I see that she wrote rock stars right back at you. So, the top 10 goal setting to go into 2024, JB, I know that you do a lot of business planning and goal setting with your team. Just talk us through some of the things that you've really been doing to kind of prep this season of the new year that we're facing.
So one of the things that we actually start our goal setting in end of October, beginning of November, somewhere around there. And we start looking forward into the next year around that time. One of the things that we do every year is we kind of recap what we did the year before. What worked, what didn't work, what can we improve on, what do we need to double down on. And then, of course, the other part of that is it is very important for our team to start setting our goals in November for 2024. So we do those two things, and we have meetings, and we get together. We do a lot of meetings, kind of going through what worked in 2023 and what didn't work. So that's kind of where we start.
That's awesome. I love that. And I couldn't agree more. And one of the things is, you've always heard about SMART goals, right? And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So you need to be very specific on your goals. You need to make sure that you can measure those goals. I think I'm always a firm believer that you should have small and bigger goals and then put a time. What is the quote that if a goal without a time limit is just a wish, right? So let's start into, we said the top 10. So we're going to talk about the first part of this is how do we increase our sales volume? So I know that you've really taken the leap of faith and expanded your team this year. You guys are doing absolutely amazing. Not only have you expanded in terms of agents that have joined your team, but also your sales volume. So what are some of the necessary steps that you have done to ensure that you have enough flow of business how many team members first do you have at this point?
So today we're actually adding our 18th team member.
Wow, yay. That's awesome.
So, I've spent the majority of my time as a team leader with a smaller team, 3, 4 agents. And so, last year about this time, I really had a vision that I really wanted to grow. I love what I do, and I love to help agents grow their business. And I feel I've been very blessed with great coaches. So that's what we did this year, and it's been great.
That's awesome. So how do you, going into increasing your sales volume and then the next one, which is expanding your client base, obviously to feed leads to 18 team members, you need to increase your sales and increase your clients. So what are the steps that you took when you said, "Hey, I want to go from this small team to this mega team"?
Well, I think it all starts with systems and processes. You've got to have a good system. We've got several lead sources, 4 or 5 different lead sources that we use. Plus, things like open houses or, just all the different ways you can lead gen. But none of that matters unless you a lot of education around conversion. So we really took conversion very seriously. I would say around this time last year we still do weekly trainings, but we really immersed ourselves in conversion training from probably November of May of 2023. And so I think it's all about the education, you know, knowing how to have those conversations. You can have the business, but if you do not know how to convert, makes it really hard.
No, exactly. I mean, I always say that the leads are as good as the one converting them, right? So let's kind of highlight that a little bit. I mean, what advice for people that are generating some leads, but they're not necessarily converting them? What are some of the strategies that you teach your team to increase? Because you guys have a very high conversion rate.
Yes. Well, we have a script that we've used. To me, a good script. And here's the thing: I think as human beings, and just realtors in general, we make it very difficult. We have mastered LP Mama. If you've been in real estate for any amount of time, um, you know what LP Mama is. Uh, so
Well, let's break it down. Location, price. Let's break it down for everyone.
so LP Mama, L is location, P is price, M is motivation, A is do you have an agent? The other M is have you applied for a mortgage? And the last A is setting the appointment.
Fantastic.
And I think what a lot of agents do, and this is what we do a lot of training on, and I didn't realize this is what a lot of agents were doing until I really immersed myself in it with my team, is we go through all of those steps and then we don't set the appointment. It's like we and we ask for the appointment. And so once we really started doing that, and also on our team, what we started realizing is we were spending a lot of time talking to our clients about their motivation, getting to know their why. Why are you wanting to buy? Why are you wanting to sell? When you kind of spend a lot of time on that part of that script, um, you're really getting to know your client on a deeper level. And then just at the appointment, invite them to meet you for coffee, invite them to come into the office, invite them to, hey, let's go look at that house that you've favorited on our website 3 times. Let's just look, it doesn't hurt. So setting that appointment and getting in front of the clients is so important. And believe it or not, a lot of agents kind of forget that part. I don't know if they're just scared to ask, but we have found that focusing on those 2 things within that script has helped our conversion a lot.
I think that's so important. I mean, I kind of, the analogy I can think of is like throwing a fish line out, throwing your line out, hooking a fish, reeling it in, and then just not being trying to put it in the boat, I mean, that's how simple. And a lot of times that just comes from our own confidence, right? And asking for that appointment. So LP Mama, that is a great script. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to JB or myself, and we'd be happy to kind of explain that process.
And you just said confidence. I want to touch on that really quick. I've got a lot of newer agents on my team. And so anybody that's listening to this that's got, less than 2 years in the business, you build that confidence by practicing. We role play every week. I encourage the agents on my team to role play with each other every day. But role playing and knowing what to say is crucial, because if you're not practicing with a team member or a spouse or somebody, then what ends up happening is you end up practicing on your clients. So to build that confidence, it's also a lot of role playing.
No, absolutely. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Deanne. She said, "Hi, ladies." And Katie said, "Hey." So Katie is your business partner for your team. So good morning.
Awesome.
We'll have to get her on here one of these days. I know she's had her hands full with the baby, but
Yes.
maybe you can help me convince her.
We'll get her on here.
We'll get her on here. Awesome. The next thing, so obviously we have 10 goal setting tips. So the next one would be your online presence, which I know is really, really big, especially in real estate. We have to build that trust. We have to build that brand, which personal branding is in our top list as well. So, what are some of the suggestions that you have in terms of online presence to make sure that not only are you generating those leads, you're doing the LP Mama, you're setting the appointment, but how do we stay in front of them? As we know, some leads are 6, 12, 18 months out.
Sure. Well, I think so. There's two different ways. I think that's very important. I have gone through my spurts where I'm really good at this, and then I get really busy and I get really bad at it. But what I do find is when I'm really consistent with, it's almost like a day in the life of. When you're at inspections, get on social media and post that. You know, when you're, I think it's very important to educate the consumer about the process of real estate. So that's kind of my advice as far as social media goes. I think as a real estate agent, that's what social media is meant for. In with growing your business, is let people know, hey, I'm at a home inspection and this is why it's so important. Hey, I'm at a closing table and this is kind of what it looks like. Um, hey, I'm meeting with my lender and these are the things that he'll need when and if you decide to, buy a home in 2024. I think it's so important, rather than almost like, hey, we're awesome, we sold this house. Try to kind of gear your social media to educating the consumer, because a lot of people don't know the process. On the other, I think it's very important as far as the clients that you do have, your past clients, and the people that you've talked to them in June and they're not going to be looking until the first of the year. You've got to constantly, send them. We have a system where we can put them on a drip campaign. So every holiday they get a message from us. And we do what's called care calls. We call them and just say, hey, I know you're not looking. I know we talked back in June and you're not looking till January. Just wanted to call and check in on you. How's everything going? So I think there's two different kind of modes of how to stay present with, your clients and consumers.
Sure. And I think there's definitely ways to stay top of mind. They always say if you own the mind share, you own the market share. And you can stay top of mind without being pushy or salesy, which I think a lot of real estate agents feel like they're being that way. And I just want to give a shout out to Heidi. She said, good morning. So good morning, Heidi. So the next point is really like being able to identify your ideal client and specialize, really having a specialty, but then also kind of being able to diversify your business. So when you look at your team, how do you really determine who your ideal client is and then be able to target those specific clients?
Well, I think that people tend to work with the people that are most like them. So again, back to social media, I'll just take Deanne for example because she's on here. Anne has, when she posts something, she's going to get a completely different group of people than I am. Or so I think it's just very important to get in front of those people and be transparent. Um, you know, uh, but I mean that would be my advice on that.
No, I think I really want to highlight something that you said was people work with people that are like them. So, like for example, I know with EXP, I tend to attract a lot of agents that are investors, right? That have been team leaders, that have been brokers, because again, they will feel that commonality. So it's all about finding the commonality, and maybe it's you've got kids and you're the homeroom mom, and so you're finding other kids and or just whatever it is. I think you can definitely find things within your personal life to find that specialty in terms of a niche of your ideal client.
Yes, absolutely.
So networking and partnerships, now I think this is really really important, especially in real estate. I think a lot of times when newer agents get in the business, they don't realize how much networking is a part of the business. So, what type of networking events do you do? But then, more importantly, what type of networking events do you encourage your newer agents on your team to attend?
I think that when you're brand new, I know it's a large time commitment, but I think you should be involved with as many. I think you should support realtors in brokers opens. If there's a lender or a title company or an insurance agent that has a function, I think you should go. It is very, what a lot of people don't understand, it is just as important to build a rapport with people within your industry as it is your clients. When I very first moved to Tulsa, I had been in the business for 8 years, but I was brand new here in Tulsa, did not know a single soul. And I literally showed up to every networking event I could possibly go to, my calendar, because I didn't have a lot of business. So I just started meeting lenders, started meeting insurance agents, started meeting, people in title and other realtors. So I think it's very important to go to those things, and support your agents. Brokers open, that takes a lot for an agent to put on. I mean, it's a huge time commitment, and they want to sell that property. So I think it's very important to go. Support your fellow agents, whether they're with your brokerage or not, because you know what? You could walk through that house and a buyer could pop in your mind and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to bring him here. So I think those are the things that you should focus on as an agent.
My mute button didn't want to unpause. No, I agree. I think those are all really really good points. And the important thing at the end of all of this, I mean, obviously we're giving a rundown of 10 ideas, is also once you've done all these things, as you look back on your year and say, okay, what worked, what didn't work, where was my time best spent, and then pick and narrow it down to like 3 or 4 lead generation buckets.
Yes.
Was my time best spent going to the brokers opens or the networking events? Was my time best spent doing open houses? Is my time best spent volunteering at the school and meeting other parents? What is it that you are specifically good at? Because at the end of the day, what I'm good at is going to be different than what JB's good at, and vice versa. So you really have to pick and choose. And that's one thing that going into the new year you can start looking at, is what worked for you this year. And it needs to constantly evolve and change. You can't be doing the same thing you were doing 2 years ago and the same thing you were doing 5 years ago, right? So those that don't evolve and change are the ones that are going to be left behind. Um, so let's talk a little bit about client satisfaction. And so we know, testimonials are really important. And anytime somebody hears, I mean, if you're going to a new restaurant, you're going to check Yelp, you're going to check their Google reviews and the Facebook reviews. And in real estate, it's no different. So how are you training your staff to make sure that they're getting those necessary reviews and testimonials?
We have a system for that.
Of course you do.
So, think about a real estate transaction. You have to order the appraisal in a certain amount of time, and you got to get title work done, and you got a TRR date to meet. Like, these are all systematic parts of the transaction. And then we schedule a closing date. And then after the closing date, nothing else is done. That's what I just full transparency. That's what I did for a very long time in my business. Yes, I would reach out, on Christmas or their birthday or something, but I really had no system. And about 5 years ago, that changed. So after closing, at closing, we get a review. We we try to do that every single time. And then we are calling them or talking to them 6 months on their 6 months anniversary of their closing, and on a year anniversary of their closing. So that's kind of the system that we have in place after closing. And then they also go into our CRM. I've talked about the importance of a CRM before. It's extremely important. And about 2 to 3 times a year, we'll have a client appreciation. And it's just for our clients to come, let them know that we appreciate them. We do all kinds of different events. And so to me, that is extremely important. It is just as important as using LP Mama and doing lead generation.
No, I couldn't agree more. And this is such a great time of year to do a client appreciation party. I mean, you could do a Christmas or holiday party, let your kids take photos with Santa, and then you're able to update, frankly, going back to your CRM, because they're giving you their updated address or email address or what have you. So it's just a really great time to do a touch point, or even do something, kicking off the new year, go rent out a local movie theater and invite everybody just to have some time after the holidays to chill and relax. We know the holidays can be a very hectic and stressful time. So what can you do to bring that calm to your clients? So all very, very good advice. We kind of touched on this, but you talked about education. Continuous education, I think, is very, very important. It doesn't matter if you've been in the industry 5 months, 5 years, 15 years, you constantly have to be learning and evolving, because the industry is evolving, right? So what types of training do you suggest, whether it be a new or experienced agent, to really make sure that they're sharpening their skills constantly?
Well, I think it's a multitude of things. Some of the things that we focused on this year is, in Oklahoma, the contracts have changed. So we want our agents to be, that you've got to know your contract.
Sure.
Like, so, we're doing a contract class. We're doing conversion classes. We're doing an expired class. So, and you're right, it always is changing. I mean, I've been in the business 17 years, and if I were still practicing like I did year one, I would be left in the depths.
Right.
So there's technology, there's new technology. I think it's good to, do some training on AI. I think it's good to do within our brokerage. There is so much training. It is unreal. So you need to learn social media. We could stay on that for a good hour.
Right. Well, maybe that's in the next topic, right? No, and so kind of leads me into my next point, is because there is so much. We've talked about 8 different things already, and you've already mentioned systems and processes. Systems and processes. We can't say it enough.
Yes.
How do you create those systems and processes to streamline it so you're able to duplicate yourself and you're able to do all of these things that are necessary?
Well,
I just lost your video for some reason, but we can hear. Oh, there, you're back.
am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, repeat just the question one more time.
Sure. So we're talking about systems and processes. How do you streamline all these different, because this can be very overwhelming. If somebody's listening to this, they're like, you just listed off 10 different things that I need to do.
Right.
How do you streamline that?
So my suggestion would be to pick 3 buckets, whatever that is. I would choose those buckets on what is going to be the highest income producing activities. So, it's going to be different from everybody. I've got an agent on the team who has 30,000 followers on TikTok, and she's great at social media. So that might be one of hers.
Right.
It could be lead gen, it could be this. Just pick 3 and then master it. Really break those 3 down. If you try to pick 15, it's that saying, like, Jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly.
So pick 3. Say, I'm going into 2024 and I'm going to get really good at conversion, social, getting reviews. Pick those 3 things and then master them. Create systems around where you've got, okay, maybe every Thursday is a social media day, and that's all you do on Thursday. Just create whatever system is going to fit into your lifestyle and your business and master those. And then once you've mastered those, add another one. That's
Right.
how I grew the team and grew my systems. Because if I were to try to do all that at one time, there's no way that
Right. No, you just, it's like you want to conquer the world, but you got to do it in bite-sized nuggets, right? So
Eddie wins the race.
I agree. Now you still got to have, what is the saying? Oh my gosh. You still have a sense of urgency, right? So
Absolutely.
slow and steady with a sense of urgency, if that makes sense.
Yes. And at EXPCon, no, it wasn't at EXPCon. It was at Build in Dallas last year. There was a speaker on stage that talked about where you get those, like, say you take social media. Well, you could take 3 months to learn social media, but what he would do is take 3 weeks and like become obsessed with it for 3 weeks and then so I do like that idea.
Full immersion. I mean, Tony Robbins actually talks about that is you can't do it in little, I say bite-sized nuggets. So I'm contradicting a little bit of what I just said. I mean, just don't conquer the world at one time. But if you really want to become a master of something, you have to fully immerse yourself. So I do agree with that. And frankly, the holiday season sometimes is a great way to do that. Um, things are kind of slowing down. People are traveling. People are spending time with family. Take the time to learn whatever it is, that new skill set that you want to learn going into the new year.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about community involvement. And I think you guys are really, really good at this. I think it's really important now more than ever, especially with everything that's going on in our world and since COVID. I think, it is so important for agents to get involved into their community. So, how do you really keep that as part of your business plan in such a busy environment?
So I'll tell you, this is where this is one of my goals to really improve on this year. We have definitely been involved with multiple charities here in Tulsa. We've been involved with the SPCA and with the Demand Project and with animal rescues. I've got a team full of animal lovers, and I love it. But we also really, really, really love the Demand Project. But where I'm not going to say failed, I'm just learning, is
Sure.
we've not been really consistent with that. So this year, that is one of our big goals as a team, is to, again, set a goal, get clarity on what you would like to do, and systemize it.
No, I think that's really important. And frankly, get involved in the community is something that you're already passionate about, right?
Yes. So we are going as a team. We plan on really being involved with the Demand Project this year, and not only we want to donate a portion of our revenue to them, but we also want to be able to have a space to where we can volunteer our time to that cause. And so, this is something that's new to me. I mean, we've done things. We've done canned food drives for the Eastern Oklahoma Food Bank. We've done various things, but it's not been anything very consistent. And that was a goal that, I just set this year. Katie and I both did and said, no more. We are going to get very consistent with being involved in our community and the things that are close to us.
That's awesome. I couldn't agree more. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to Alex. Looks like he's tagged some of his team members there. So certainly glad that you're watching. So the last one here on the list, which we've already kind of touched on a little bit, is personal branding and why it's so important. And I always think that it's less about you and more about your ideal client. What problems do they have? How do you solve their problem? And how do you develop that brand around that? So I'll use like our new restaurant that we just opened as an example. It's a sports bar and grill. I don't even drink much. I don't even watch sports. It's not about me as the owner. It's about the demographic and what audience we need to serve. So,
Right.
how do agents translate that same concept into their business, identify their ideal client? What problems do they have? How they specifically and individually solve those problems, and then develop a personal brand around all of that?
Well, I think one to develop the personal brand, I think it's got to be extremely consistent. And in the past with social media, there's been a lot of oh, I sold this house. I sold this house. I did this in production. I did this, blah, blah, blah. Like I've done that too. We've all done that.
Right.
I really think that it has to be about educating. And this is another goal that we have for 2024, really focusing on educating the consumer. The questions that we answer all day from first time home buyers or about, loan programs. What kind of loan can I get? We partner with our lenders on that, and gear your social media to educating the consumer. I think that is going, it just makes sense. I mean, people don't know. We're in the business, so we know what interest rates are. We know the process. We know how much down payment you have to have or what down payment assistance is. Consumers watching our content don't. And so rather than just being like, oh, sold, pending, closed, bleh, just educate the consumer. I think that is extremely important going into the next year.
I couldn't agree more because, I see all the posts, which are fine of, just listed, just sold, congratulations, which is all great. But like you said, that means nothing to the rest of the audience.
Yeah.
So really put yourself in that perspective and what is it that they want to see? As a matter of fact, with our team right now, we're reading The Agent's Edge, and he talks about his Instagram. And it was a little bit of a different perspective than what I've always done and taught, is I've always mixed personal and professional posts. But he's like, no, if you go to my Instagram, it's all luxury listings. That's his brand out in California. So this may be different than what somebody else's local market is. But when you look, it's all just professional luxury photos and videos. That's why somebody goes to his page, is to see those things. So not that you have to take it to that extreme, but why is it somebody would visit your page as opposed to somebody else's?
Right.
That's awesome. Well, I think these are all great tips, JB. I appreciate you as always. If you want to see JB, and Ruben's usually on here as well, they are on the second Wednesday of every single month. JB, if agents want to reach out to you, whether it be from this live broadcast or a replay, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
I'm on Instagram at JB-Hawkins, or you can find me on Facebook, JB Hawkins. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I'm sure I'll talk to you before Christmas, but I hope you have a Merry Christmas as well.
You too, Micah. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.